figure
I hear
out
you. I hear you
what
now. You're
my
talking through the
branding should
music.
look like,
Do
as
you hear
well
me
as
well or not so well?
I hear you well.
Okay. All right. I think we are going live.
All right. Well, then let me do my okay on my blue button thing. There we go.
Hi, hey,
Mm,
hey. We are here. We are tapping in. We are live. Mr. Rich, how are you today?
I am amazing. I'm super colossal. Pretty good day in paradise. How you feeling?
You always say that. I'm feeling wonderful, actually. I feel really good. Feel really good.
I'm glad. Would you like a
How?
second opinion?
Of course. You can a second opinion never hurts, you know.
You feel great.
Oh, I feel great. Thank you. I
Uh,
love that. I love that I feel great.
okay.
It's so funny. You silly bird. You're a silly bird.
Mhm.
So,
Life is beautiful.
so I want to
So
just
we know
jump
we got a
into
little freeze over here. You know that, right?
It's freezing over there. I
We
heard it
messed
was a
around,
little
woke up to
chilly.
44 degrees. It wasn't sexy.
So hell is literally freezing over.
Oh, okay. I don't know if we went that far, but okay.
Well, that's Miami. Miami started freezing. You're like, what's going
Mm,
on? Maybe it's because the hurricanes. Maybe the hurricanes, they doing their thing. Maybe that's what did it.
That that probably is
You
what
hear
it is.
Curry? Curry want to get
Why
on
you
camera
keep?
again today.
Well, you know,
Huh?
I like Curry being on camera. I don't know what you
You
talking
like
about.
camera?
Hmm.
Curry want royalties, and I can't pay royalties just yet. So I think it's a girl cat. I think he's trying to get to a girl cat, and this is what we got to deal with right now. If anybody want to buy a cat, a little used, I have one available. Hold on. So,
How much is that cat going for?
you want to make an offer?
No,
You don't want to make you want a free cat?
no. I was trying to see if I could help somebody else buy it.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. Well, if there's any offers out
I was
there
gonna
for my
broker it.
cat, oh,
Mm-hmm.
put it out
Mm-hmm.
there. I don't know.
All
I don't know
righty
what we're
then.
talking about here no more. It's just going a little too far now. It's going
What you got?
for.
Okay.
All right, let me stop all this music. So, you know what we're here to talk about today. We wrapped up last week talking a little bit about the four agreements. And so you thought it would be fitting to get us into the fifth agreement, in which I think you said it might be complex, but I definitely think is what's needed right now for me. Just kind of taking a personal inventory, kind of spiritually inner work, clearing out some junk, and just taking responsibility for things I need to do, not what other people need to do for me. So, or holding other people accountable for what's happening in my life. So tell me from your words, why did you want to go in this direction?
To me, it was a logical progression of what we're trying to accomplish this year, starting off in the year. And by starting off with the four agreements, I think this is the natural evolution of what we're trying to bring. And I thought in the beginning when I thought about it, I said, okay, yeah, this is a good smooth move. And then I started thinking about, well, maybe it might be a little dense. But as I went through it again, I was like, no, it doesn't have to be dense. It just has to be, we have to be willing to accept where we're at and then where we want to go. And then whether or not we believe what's in front of us is going to be for the best for all parties involved. And so I retract that statement. It's a unnatural follow through. I like it. I think it's going to be good for us. I think we're going to have a good conversation.
Okay, well, I got to make some clarifications here. So, for if somebody just joining us, they probably not even sure what we're talking about, or who we are for that matter. So, if you don't know, I am Nikki Styles Baker, and this is my lovely, handsome co-host for Tap In, Richard Milholm. And so we're here every Friday around this time, and we are talking about personal mastery, self-improvement, and how to live the satisfied life that you want to live. And so we do it through Tap In and just our basic way of just trying to be honest, trying to be real about what we've learned and what we practice in our own lives. So tonight we're talking about the fifth agreement. And last couple of 2 weeks we had talked about the popular book by Don Miguel Ruiz, The Four Agreements. But tonight we're talking about the fifth agreement. And those of you who read the fourth agreement, you might not even know that the fifth agreement exists. Now, I knew that the mastery of love, I had read that before, also by Don
Mm,
Miguel Ruiz, which is really good. But I didn't know about the fifth
mm,
agreement. So, how'd you come across it? And again, and now, like I said, and I want, like you said, we really probably need to break it down because it is so, I think it's so high minded. It's so simple, it's complex for our world, right?
mm,
Because we make things so, in the four agreements, I think was the same way. We're so complex. It was saying like, for example, our words are symbols, right? One word, cat. In English is CAT, right? In French is CHAT, right? But we agree when we see curry, I say cat, somebody will say shot, somebody will say something gato, right? Curry is a cat, no matter what we call him, but we all have different symbols that mean cat, right? To one group of people, a cat may represent, like in Asian culture, represent good fortune. In another culture, cat may represent bad luck, right? So the things it talks about the translations that we put onto things, the perspective that we put on things are not real. Kind of like Dr. Bill, alluded to. They're just our beliefs, and they're beliefs that we agreed to. So if you think a black cat crossing the street in front of you is bad luck, you're entitled to believe that, but it's just a cat, right? It's just a cat minding his business. But if that is the purpose, if that's the meaning you attribute to it, and you tell a little kid or a friend or somebody, oh my God, a black cat crossed your path, if they agree, if they buy into the thing that you have put out there, they've just made an agreement. And that agreement may or may not serve them. So what I feel that he's directing us in the book is, since this is all a dream anyway, since this is not real anyway, what we call life in a sense, if we're going to put meaning on things, let's make the meanings that help your life, not the meanings that hurt your life. So going back to being impeccable with your words, don't have meanings that work against you. So if it means, if you agree that that cat is bad luck, then it's gonna affect you thusly. So that's a beginning where I wanted to kick off of what the most beautiful thing I got out of this was just that Mary Tompkin, but Mary Tompkin she had a really good sermon once that I went to. It was around Christmas time, but it was be careful what stories you believe. And also it added to it, you have permission to rewrite the stories. So, like, if you believe in Cinderella, you live in this Cinderella drama, and you a poor girl waiting for some rich guy to come save you, and they never come save you, you might get a little salty. Because the fairy tale went that one day, because she was a good person, she should be saved and happy. But you get to rewrite the story. So maybe you get to rewrite, or someone else gets to rewrite the story. Well, you know what? I don't need to be saved. I can save myself. So I really like that, and I think it connects with, again, what this fifth agreement is talking about. So what do you introduced this? So what do you think about all that I just threw at you?
Well, I think when I analyze the fifth agreement, what it seems like to me, it's more of the crashing of the delusion of symbology and um self-determination. And what I mean by that is when I go over the book, it seems to me like it's telling you that they, like many other books that I've read, they tell you that this is all a dream. But the question is it really a dream, or is this is our own freedom, our freedom? I want to say this without getting too airy fairy, but it's your will versus what is determined to be true. So the best way I can explain it is this way. If we say that these are symbols that we're dealing with, then that means they're not really real, because they're just a representative of what our mind or consciousness will accept to be true. And if that is true, then we get to make a determination of, like you were saying, is it good? Is the cat good luck or is it bad luck? So who's really making the decision? It's
Mm-hmm.
us. And it's always us. We're the common denominator in everything that we're doing on the planet. So the question then comes to us, why did we get these symbols? Who gave us these symbols? Why did they give us those particular symbols? And why is it not uniform across the universe? Because once again, you said it, a cat is a cat. Well, why did we have so many? Why did we have to ascribe so many different meanings to the cat when the cat is just a cat? So that's where I started going into the heady part of the book, and I had to pull myself back and ask myself, am I following the author, and do I understand what he's trying to get me to see, or am I creating my own version of the fifth agreement? And that's where I came and landed on at this point. And we'll go a little deeper, but that's where I'm at this point so far.
Well, I believe in there touched on the fifth agreement is kind of a key to the others, right? So,
Right.
and like I said, I felt the same way. I don't know if I'm getting what he's trying to communicate, but I sure was getting what I'm trying to, what I get out of it. So, for example, if someone says, like, I was very self-conscious about my nose, right? Or even more serious things like race. If someone calls you out of your name, right? Or what they've called you as a race, and you don't identify as that, you might say, no, I don't agree with it, but yeah, I do have a right to be angry about it, right? I do have a right to be offended. Um, how deep does the agreement go, right? That you respond to it, that you even have a reference for what that is that they're calling you. Because you go, well, see, when I say this word, I mean this, but when you say that word, I know what you mean, and what you mean is against me. And so, therefore, again, you still have to have an agreement of terms before you can go that far and accuse someone of what they mean. And even if they mean what they say, there's value in what he's saying. And remember, what they're saying is just a symbol, and their symbol is not necessarily right. Like, I love Curry, the cat, right? And if someone else tells me, oh, cats are bad luck, I'm not going to put any energy into it, because obviously those symbols are mean nothing to me, right? Means nothing to me. So someone said, "Oh, the cats, they sit on the baby's chest and they suck the baby's breath out. That's a witch thing." Right? And they attribute it to a witch, which is like if you draw a picture as a lady, a little round face with a hair, long hair and a triangle hat, and she's probably frowning because she's old and ugly, right? And she got a long nose with a mole on it. Like, these are the symbols that we associate with, in that case, evil, a evil woman, right? An evil, manipulative woman. So where do we get that symbol from? So to me, if I could articulate what I think he said, the fifth agreement is, be skeptical of what people say, but still listen. And this will help you avoid buying into other people's symbols. Like you said, who came up with that? Who came up with that symbol? So be skeptical, but still listen, because there may be value in the symbol that they're giving you, right? Is there value, for example, in the symbol of a rainbow, that everything will be all right, right? Is there value in that? Is there value in the symbol of the cross? Is there value, like I say, even like we talked about in the meaning, in the letters, in the meaning of your name? So I found value in that, and it's not sinful against myself. It's wonderful for myself to see the beautiful meaning. So I think going back, he said the Toltec people were a group of scientists and artists who started a community with hopes of teaching and improving the world. But they noticed that there was all these illusions going on. That was one of their observations or findings. So I coming back to that. So if you know you're living in an illusion, I would say like, and he talks about virtual reality, or if you're in the matrix, if something tipped you off like, oh, we are in the matrix. I know that's out there for me and probably for a lot of people to digest. But if you knew 100%, like you had proof that it was a dream, what would you do in the dream? Right? Would you fly? So if that's the case, why don't we test it on this life, right? If we really believe, okay, it's a dream, like we're in lucid sleep, and we can direct what happens next. And we can say, okay, now I want to fly. Okay, now I want to swim. Now I want to go underground. Now I want to climb like Spider-Man. Why don't we try that in real life? Like we gave that up when we were kids, but we keep reading all this stuff like The Secret that tells us, hey, you got to act like a millionaire if you want to be a millionaire, right? So why don't we test it? Why don't we test the matrix and see just how much our words and thoughts and our agreements affect our outcomes? Mm,
I hear what you're saying, but I think it goes a little deeper than that. And I think what it is like I said, I think we're running into a wall. And the wall is the limitation of our imagination. And I think they're trying to give us, like, I agree with you in your first part, the fifth agreement is like a key to unlock the unlimitedness of our imagination. And that these symbols are what kinds of are like total ropes that keep us locked down. Because, like, going back in your beginning when you were talking about you getting upset at what somebody else deems you or call you out of your name. Well, you have one group of individuals may have been born on this planet 45 million years ago. And then the
mm.
people who are talking about you may have only been on the planet 6,000 years ago.
Right.
And you're going to allow them to dictate to you
Who you
how
are.
you're going to respond and about yourself. That's
Exactly.
crazy. So
Exactly.
then those symbols that they're giving us may be like many prisons that we allow ourselves to get trapped in.
That's what I
Where
was
in
saying.
reality,
That's what I was
I'm with
saying.
you.
Okay, but
I'm
you were
with
talking about you
you.
going deeper way. I was just trying to go there, but not go all the way in there. But come on, you
If
go
we
ahead.
going, we going on. Didn't we say if we going all the way in?
We
Ain't that what
going
we
all we
said?
look, stop playing. We going where we going. Just get
That's
out
right.
the way.
So I'm not gonna cheat the people. I came here to give them what they want now, and I feel like that's why I think like even when we talk about the Matrix, which I love the Matrix. I do. I love the Matrix. The movies are amazing, but once again, it's trying to remind us that the fallacy that we're living is just that. It's a dream. It's fake. It's not really real because all we have to do is remember and call to ourselves who we are and what we are. And like let me not say almost every great text that has to do with the mind, self development, the enhancement of spirituality, ascension, everything says this is just a dream. That's
Mm-hmm.
all it is.
Yeah.
It's so much of a dream. We have little children's song that even tells us life is but a dream. So
Yes.
everything is telling us, I'm going to wake you up and I'm going to find every single way that I can wake you up, whether it's movies, songs, art, every single thing that has to do with the human ability to transmute, translate and discuss how to get out of this matrix. But we keep saying to ourselves, this is real. This
Right.
is real. And the real is always tied into our limitations. It's crazy to me. It's crazy.
I gotta get the horn because it's time to get crunk in here. Yes, yes,
Yeah. Yes. Let's
yeah,
go.
yeah. I can't wait. I can't wait to say something. So he talks about we live in a virtual reality. Well, we know virtual reality only imitates reality. And that's what a symbol does, right? A symbol is our best effort, like our language is our best effort for me to tell you what real is, right? Like I'm looking at real, like the tree is real. Looking at the sky is real. But somewhere between real and my brain and my best way of expressing to you the real thing I'm looking at, we have a lot of problems. Things happen, things interfere. So he said, the source of all conflict is lies.
Mm-hmm.
So, so
Yep.
whenever there's
Come on.
conflict, there's a disagreement about what's real, right? One person says, "No, I'm keeping it real." Another person, "You're not keeping it real. You lying," right? We go there, but we're not keeping. So what? And so that was provoking when he said the source of all conflict is a lie, because I was like, "Oh, that's a strong word, a lie." But like I said, but he says there's only two states of things: realness and not realness. You can't be real and not real at the same time, there's nothing in the middle, right? So it's either real or it's not. So it's saying real is going to be real despite whether we recognize it or identify it or can explain what it is or not, right? We know love is real. We can't explain it though. We got 5,000 probably different words to try to explain all the different ways that we love. But we know that it's a real thing, right? We call it a feeling, an action, 1,000 different things. So I wanted to go deeper. So like when you're talking about, he used the example of Santa Claus story, and he asked the question, "How old were you when you realized Santa wasn't real?" For those people who were Christians or grew up celebrating Christmas with the Santa. And I was thinking, I never believed in Santa. I was skeptical from the start about this whole Santa thing, right? But I remember for me, my mom kept pushing the whole Santa narrative. Santa, you better be good because Santa brings some gifts and some cookies. And I'm like, I was with you when you bought all those gifts. You know that, right? Right? Like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
and then so just to disprove her, I remember staying up one night while she was wrapping the gifts because she bought all the gifts like on Christmas Eve or the day before, and I was peeping, watching her. So it was so funny because she didn't even put me in another room. So you want me to believe in Santa? You're not doing a good job at fooling me, okay? And so I'm looking at her and I'm like, yeah, Santa. She's Santa. I knew she was Santa the whole time, but I did get what he was saying in the story that let's say you did believe in Santa and all the symbols that go with Santa, the whole set of concepts that go with Santa, which is you better be good, right? Because only if you're good will you get the good gifts that you want. But if you're bad, not only you won't get the good gifts you want, you're going to get punished. You're going to get charcoal and switches, right? But then here's Christmas Day, and you didn't get what you wanted, and you know you were good. And the little bad ass kid that lives next door, he got the damn thing that you wanted. And you're thinking, well, wait a minute now. How that happen? I was good. I know I was good. I didn't get what I wanted, and that kid did. And so he's saying when you find out that there is no Santa, because you accepted that agreement. You agreed to that agreement that Santa was real. And now that you know it's not, but you still have the remnants of that belief. So even after you found out Santa was not real, somehow you still believed that good things come to good people and that you'll be gifted for being good. and that somehow bad people will see punishment. But that's not happening. So then sometimes now in your adult life, you're getting mad, you're getting angry, you say it's not fair because this seemingly bad person is being rewarded when you see so many seemingly good people not be rewarded. So that Santa complex is still living in you, even though you know Santa's not there. So I feel like what he's saying is be very careful the things you agree to. So I mean, we're not little kids anymore. And even if some of the remnants of that type of stuff is living in you, put it in check because it could really be causing you harm and attack people because you believe in this fairy tale, essentially, that was never meant to serve you anything good for you in the first place. It was meant to sell out of the mall. Hey, John. John Jones said, "Hey, Rich."
Hey, what's going on?
I would ask John, well, John, where the collard greens and the mustard greens at now? Because we hungry over here.
Hmm.
I'm vegetarian. A lot of lots and lots of greens. We need like 2 truckloads of greens. But Rich, what you think? If anybody else listening right now, say hi. Let us know who you are. Let us know where you're listening from. But Rich, what do you feel about that? But we have to check in ourselves that we believe. Let's put Santa Claus aside, but maybe there's a bunch of other fairy tales that we believe that are really not serving us. What do you think about that?
I think that you're hitting the nail on the head. And at this time, I want to superimpose the word agreement with contracts. Because as we get older, the same concepts that we're going through with the terms agreement, even though we don't use it as much as we probably are going to start having to use them, we use the word contracts. And we grew up realizing that, just like you said in your example, we were good all year and then we didn't get what we wanted. And so now, as adults, we have the same game because we're playing the same illusion, but only for bigger stakes called contracts. And so now we are so caught up in trying to get over on contracts that we purposely find ways to cheat people through contracts when in the book it's basically telling you, hey, listen, be careful because the way you're responding is not in alignment to what you really want. But you're still going to do this. Like, if I can get over, I'm going to get over. Well, the
Yeah.
agreements is the same kind of concept. So, are you really, when you say you're in agreement with someone, are you saying at this point that I'm looking for the best for both of us while I'm protecting myself? And can you protect yourself and still be reasonable, fair, and just in your agreement?
Well,
That's what I'm thinking.
I think that's why the fifth agreement is be skeptical, but listen anyway. Because to me, it's a lot like it to me, the fifth agreement embodies the first four agreements.
Correct.
Um, because it's about speaking impeccably. So if you speak impeccably in a way that's not harmful for yourself, that's the kind of way of staying skeptical. You're not letting yourself go. And the same thing with not taking anything personal, good or bad. So the fifth agreement, which suggests be skeptical, means if somebody could be telling you you're Nikki, like remember when we had the whole talk on I guess it says you're so pretty. And I said something like to God be the glory. And they said, are you shy or something, ashamed?
Hmm.
And I was just being skeptical, right? Because one, if I have to depend on people to tell me how I look all day, and then third, that changes even who I think I am. What does that have to do with the realness of who I am? I'm not a look, I'm a whole human and a dynamic. So if I start putting my value of myself on my looks, what happens if I get in a horrible accident? Then I'm going to be torn up because I'm going to believe that all that value laid in how I look. I mean, yes, I'm thankful, grateful that people might find me attractive, but I don't want to lay all that weight there. So just keeping a healthy level of skepticism, not about the person's intentions, but about the realness of the statement. right? Because
Oh,
the real beauty lies in the booty. No, in the hole. I know you want to say something. Before you say something, I wanted to say I wanted to say hi to Sue Ann. Sue Ann's with us from New York,
hey,
Rich.
Suran.
And Sue Ann been hanging out with us a little bit the last few shows, so I didn't really get a
All
chance
right.
to shout her out the previous weeks. But Sue Ann, we're talking about the fifth agreement, which is a whole book all by itself. So the four agreements is one book by Don Miguel Ruiz. The fifth agreement is just like a, I don't know, a summation to the four agreements, and we're talking about it today. And for me, it's been real useful because just like I said, where I am right now, just taking personal inventory and getting ready to start the artist way, Rich. This is hitting home right now because I want to look at things I've made agreements with. So it was like one thing with being an artist. I really grew up believing that, people would say all artists are crazy, you know. And if you talk about beauty and things of beauty and you want to be rich, that's considered vain. And I'm like, well, that guy's an artist and he's rich and he gets to sit around and paint all day. That's what I want to do. And but you're rich, but you know what I mean, the other kind of rich. And so my symbols for an artist I was learning were not other people's symbols. And over time, I started buying into other people's symbols. Artists are
Gotcha.
struggling, artists are crazy, artists are promiscuous. I mean, it's a long list of things that most people say about artists that are not true. But I had to go through a lot and go through a lot of therapy to find out that that's not true. That's not real. That's what people who are not artists say and believe about artists. But that's not the truth. It's not real. So now I'm gonna shut up and let you get back on there. But so I went on a whole bunch of paths, but maybe tell us what is a agreement, or have there been agreements that you've made that you've had to go back and say, you know what, no, I don't agree with that anymore. I changed that agreement. I disagree.
Hmm. I know you're trying to guide me into a question here, but I want to go back to what you were saying in regards to the artist because I think you hit um, an important part in what we're trying to convey to the audience. And is that usually when we're talking about artists, individuals in that realm, they have a freedom of thought and action that the people that want to control you do not have. So they
Right.
want, so their envy is manifested in their desire to control you because you scare them because of your freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I think this whole concept of the virtual reality comes in. They're in prison and they want you to stay in prison with them. And the artist, their natural inclination and their purpose of life is to show you freedom and how to get
Mm-hmm.
out of the cage. And so there's
What?
always going to be that dynamic.
Where my horn at? Let me get my horn. Where you better what? Where my horn? Oh. Yeah, I agree. That's exact. People are, if you're too free, like we people like don't know what you gonna mess with my man? I don't want my man around you. Like, girl, I don't want you or your man. What are you talking about? Right.
We've had many conversations in the past about this topic specifically, and it always comes down to a simple concept. When you're starting to make your assessments of your life and how you're going to walk on this path, are you willing to go in the shadows? Are you willing to fight your shadow self to see how free you can become? How free do
Mhm.
you really want to be? And are you still worrying about your mom? Like, I grew from a family where we didn't celebrate Christmas, like with Santa Claus and all that, because my mom said, "Ain't nobody coming here give you no gifts but me and your dad."
Right. Right.
So when I would hear kids talking about Santa Claus, because my mind is weird, I'm in Miami, Florida. We don't have no chimneys and stuff like that. What are you talking about?
But the
This
sleigh
fat
gonna
guy coming
sleigh.
through.
Right. He
You,
can't
you
get in
know,
the house.
and my mom never gave us any of those stories that we knew our friends had.
Right.
So we would be the guys going around saying, "You're so stupid to think somebody gave you. Your mom bought that for you." So we got a bad reputation for breaking other people's dreams. But I didn't know at that time that I was going to be like that for the rest of my life. Because my whole thing is, I don't want you to believe in the lie. I want you to be free. Be
Hey,
free with
maybe
your thoughts.
maybe all the
Yeah,
kids who didn't believe in Santa became artists, right? Because it's like, it
yeah,
ain't
that's what
no
I'm thinking.
Santa, it ain't no Tooth Fairy, it ain't no Easter Bunny. I don't care what y'all say. Yeah, because like because you don't have to find your beauty somewhere else, and you have to find your beauty in what exists and what's real, right? So maybe you don't have a mommy and daddy at home, and that's real, So maybe the artists are the people who have to go find beauty in what actually exists, not in the myth, not in the.
But
He also.
also don't discredit the fact that a lot of the artists have to go through pain to get to that freedom.
Well, that's
Because
kind of
until
what
they
I
get
was hinting on, right? Like
oh, okay.
they might have had
Mm-hmm.
to have a harsh reality
Yeah.
to come to. That's why you had to be creative, right? Like if you didn't have art supplies, you had to make some, right? If you didn't have nice
Mm-hmm.
clothes, you had to figure out how to do something, right? So a lot of times the creativity that we have sometimes is born out of necessity, right? Um, and there was something else I really wanted to touch on, and I go to Bible study usually on Tuesdays. So this Tuesday, I go to a spectacular Bible study. So I went to the social media income challenge with Spectacular Smith, and so it's probably since then I've been going to quite a bit of um Bible studies on Tuesday, and I really like it. So if y'all free on Tuesday, you want to go, I'll give you the link, blah blah blah. But anyway, DM me for it. But he was talking about fear, and he gave a scripture from Isaiah, but it was basically I'm now translating. When you're with God, that fear is removed, and that God is protect us or our good orderly direction. But it's like it asks the question. We know we have fears, and the fears oftentimes stop us from things that we want to do. So he says a great tactic is naming the fear, putting a name on it. So to me, it correlates with what we're talking about in this book by the fear we know is not real. The thing that we fear is not real. But if we can call it out, if we can just say it once and for all that this is what I'm dealing with, then we can deal with it. Like I said, that's not a boogie monster under the bed. That's just a shadow. But call it a shadow. And let's be clear, it's not a monster. So if we can put a name on what our fears are or our illusions are, then we can get past them. And that's too with the artist way. That's where I think the journaling comes in and helps
Mm-hmm.
because you're just dumping everything
Mm-hmm.
that's in your mind. And later you get to go back and look at it and like, oh, I was rambling. I was a little loony. But you get to actually see yourself and you get to do that inner work because you're actually now you're keeping it real. So I love this fifth agreement because it's all about really analyzing what's real. What is real? What is it that I believe is real and what is the BS? And so that's
Mm-hmm.
the stuff, like you
That's the
said,
question.
people who've been in their delusions for a long time, could be since childhood, could be whatever, could be pain, could be survival. But people who have been in their delusions a long time often don't want to touch the discussion of looking inside. And everything is about what somebody else is doing. So to me, all of the four agreements and this fifth agreement keeps pulling you right back. No, this is an inside job. This is something that you have
Mm-hmm.
to do. This is not about somebody who was disloyal to you. People gonna keep being disloyal. So what? What are they supposed to do? They're humans. They supposed to be loyal to themselves. I don't care if it was your mama, sister, brother, cousin, co-worker, lover, husband, wife. Are you loyal to yourself? And what is yourself? Who are you? Are you benevolent? Are you a queen? Are you a king? What kind of service are you doing? Have you not ever been disloyal? You being disloyal probably by attacking the person you think was being disloyal to you. So you are stooping to the same level.
Mm-hmm.
So what are the delusions? We go, yeah, but I would never do that. Delusion. You do it, when I hear people take that tone, oh yeah, but I would never do that like that. You're doing it right now. You're being pompous. You're lying. Lies, 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 right? We lies. So I mean, when we keep it real, I've talked about people sometimes unknowingly, sometimes I catch myself in the middle. I'm putting somebody down, even if it's a slight, um, really to make myself look better. And it's probably in an area where I feel some low self-esteem, and like I said, and this is we don't if we can call it what it is, we can stop doing it. Like in all the anonymous programs, I came to believe that I was powerless over this weakness, and now I can do something about it. But if you can't say, if you don't think you an addict, it doesn't matter all the destruction you do. If you don't think that you're an alcoholic, it doesn't matter how many times you get a DUI. If you don't believe it, then you just don't believe it, but you just keep being destructive without regard for what is real. So the realness is saying you are an alcoholic. So we got some few people still with us. I mean, if y'all watching, give us your questions, your thoughts in the chat. Have you ever read the Four Agreements? The fifth agreement, again, I want to articulate before you go on, Rich. The way I read it was stay skeptical, but listen anyway. Why would you do that?
When I hear what you're saying, and I do agree to a extent on the need. If you've gotten yourself so deep in the illusion that you've got to name it so that you can challenge it and get rid of it. But I also believe on the other side of the equation that we're naming things that don't exist. So in my mind, I feel like we're creating the thing that is going to imprison us because
Okay.
we're creators by nature. That's what we really are good at. And once we start saying things like I'm ugly, right? Well, yeah, you might be a beautiful person, but because you say it so much, your behavior now is the manifestation of the creation of your words. So, yeah, you might be a stunner, but then when everybody looks at you, all of a sudden people start saying, oh, no, that's an ugly person because of their behavior. And then you ask yourself, well, why is everybody treating me like that? Because I think I'm beautiful, but you've been saying all your life you're ugly. So you become the thing that you say you are. I think the problem that we're facing, and I think what the fifth agreement is really hitting home is if you're, like you said earlier, are impeccable with your words, then you have to ask yourself, what are you using your words for? Is it like I said earlier, is it a prison for your reality, or is it the key to unlock you into perpetual freedom? And that's the way I kind of see that point.
Well, I was thinking when you were saying be careful even what you're naming, right? But like, is an illusion
Hmm.
a thing, right? How do we explain something that appears real is not real, like an optical illusion, right? You go, oh, look at that flower over there. Oh, that's not a flower. That's a shadow falling off the tree. It just happens to look like a flower. And in that way, we said that's kind of harmless. But what if you didn't know, right? Or what if the shadow looked like something harmful and now you're reacting to the belief that something harmful is about to happen to something is seemingly real to you. And so that goes back to perspective. Like, and I have a couple of friends that suffer with mental illness that have, I mean, verbally communicated things to me that I'm not experiencing, that I don't perceive as the truth. And I don't think that they're lying. I really just believe in their perception, it appears and feels real to them. So with that, like you were saying, somewhere in between the two people trying to communicate what's real, there's a conflict, right? Or a lie, a misunderstanding. So, like I said, when there is misunderstanding between people, how do we convey? And I think that's where the listening part comes in. Let me listen anyway, so I can get my best understanding to how they are interpreting what's real. Because if they're interpreting, so for example, and we have a friend in common, when listened long enough and saw that the way she was interpreting what was real is that I was a danger to her, that let me know I needed to back up because that means she could be a danger to me, right? So
Correct.
I'm glad I listened long enough, but initially I wasn't listening and I was trying to convince the person that everything was normal and fine. And after really, really listening several times, I go, oh, I'm the object of frustration. I'm the enemy. And I
That's right.
didn't know.
That's right.
And so sometimes we be busy talking to people, and I don't know, a lot of people probably have lost their lives because they're over here trying to rationalize with somebody that's about to hurt them, and they have not been perceptive enough to pick up on the cues that this person is dangerous. This person is harmful. Or we'll joke and say the elevator don't go all the way to the top. But we're so busy talking and trying to make a point, we're not really realizing the perception that that person has, the reality that that person is living. Like I've been robbed before. Like the reality that that person is living is I'm about to get this money, okay, honey, and I don't care who you are. I'm about to get this money. They ain't looking at you talking about you pretty and you cute. They like, I'm about to get this money. That's what you look like a lame to me. We about to get that book. They said we got to get that book. So just so I think that's where the listening part is means be skeptical, be observant, and stay observant, stay watchful on people. So oh, look at Ingrid. Look, hey Ingrid. Ingrid said
Hey
never.
now, Ingrid, how you
Ingrid
doing?
B. Hey, she said never argue with crazy or stupid. Well, you know what? And they said if you do, I have argued with a lot of crazy and stupid because that's how, I was just so, I mean, maybe self-centered, so self-indulged, so busy trying to make a point. I've made that mistake all the time. You too. She got the hand up emoji. But thankfully, with wisdom and time, we learn to do better. We learn to do better. I'm so happy to see you, Ingrid B. I'll be back down there before the end of February, so I hope to see you. She said, bystanders never know the difference. That's true. Bystanders be thinking, look at them, both of them fools out there hollering, looking at a damn mess. Never argue when mad. That's a good one. That's a good one because like I said, when you're mad, your focus is just not on. Where you want to go with this now, Rich?
Well, no, finishing up what you said, this is, first of all, that's a good point. You don't argue with mad because, like Confucius says, if you argue with a fool, we don't know the difference between you and the fool. So that's one of the things I always try to keep myself in a position where I'm going to keep myself calm. But even when you're talking to people that encounter mental illness and things of that nature, you're actually giving them the fuel or the fire to attack you
Yeah.
because you think they don't know what they're talking about. They know exactly what they're talking about in their own heads.
Right.
You don't know that they're thinking about attacking you.
Right.
And while you're over there trying to save them, they already have decided you're food and they're
Right.
hungry.
Yes, you are
So,
substance for them to eat you up.
yeah. But that whole thing about not naming things, I'm going to hold on to that. I think we name things and then we get trapped by the things that we name, and then we become frustrated with what we name it, and then we use the concept of mental illness to escape because we don't know how to get out of the trap that we set for ourselves.
Well, I will say
We actually,
for me, the
what'd you say?
naming was the naming was helpful. Like I said, it may be like I said, it could be a strategy if it works. How it was helpful for me is, for example, they were like, "What are you afraid of?" And it was real hard for me to articulate this statement that I'm going to say.
Okay,
But my statement was, I often fear that I'm not good enough. And of
okay,
course, somebody else might say that's absurd, right? And other times I would say that's absurd. But when I just say it out loud, I can say, good enough for what? Right? And really look
okay.
at it. And then I could ask myself, when did you start? When did you make that agreement in your life that you started to feel that way? What happened just before the first time you thought you were not good enough? And then it takes me
Mm,
to right to the root of what maybe I need to be forgiving, correcting,
mm,
so that my
mm,
perception of what's real can come into focus. Oh, that's what that is messing with me all this time. I thought I had dealt with that, but I didn't. Right. And so when I said those words out loud or I wrote it down, I was like, oh, it really did lead me to a situation in my life where I was able to say, that's what that is. And now I could go back and the adult me can go back and tell the little girl me, we're free of that right now. That's not real.
I can see that.
Let's shine this light on this shadow. So, like I said, is a shadow a real thing? A shadow just
Mm-hmm.
means the omission of light, right? Even if it's just partial. So I got a light shining over here, I got a shadow over here. This is not a tangible thing, but it is a real being in that it's just the omission of light, right? And it can be seen, it can be observed. So, but if I shine a light on it, the shadow goes away, right? It will come back some way, somehow. So it is a part of us, but it's not necessarily the bad thing. Like I said, that in our culture, shadow is always attributed to something horrible or negative. Ingrid said everyone is on the spectrum. We have to know what our crazy is and why it exists. I mean, it's really true. Same goes for insecurities. We all have them. And I agree with her 100%. And back to that, so that when we start talking about, and oh, it's that person, that elevator don't want to go all the way to the top. But we know a lot of artists. And we quick to go around in our little huddle and go, oh boy, here come crazy Daisy, right? But some days we crazy Daisy. Some moments that's us. And so I think when we realize that's us, we're a bit more forgiving of, hey, it's your day, it's your time, showtime, go for it, right? But we're human. So again, back to none of us can fully perceive what's real. We don't have the capability, right? I wear
This is
glasses.
where
None of us have the capability to fully perceive what is real.
you see, this is where you and I are gonna part ways because once you start using terms like none or all of us, I don't know that.
Okay.
I don't know if there are people out there that could say that have transcended that aspect. Just like I'm not going to say everybody's on the spectrum. It seems to me from the time we got from the '60s, we started creating words to create. Like I said, we're creating words to imprison ourselves, and
Mm-hmm.
we keep coming up with different words every year, every decade. It seems like we come up with new words to describe something. We're on
Okay.
the spectrum.
I'm
We're
I'm
here.
feeling you like that because like a spectrum might be race, and so to me as an artist, I'm like, well, I say race is not real, but other people like Nikki, you crazy? Yeah, race is real, right? So like I said, those are measures of reality, right? And somebody will say you have to be on this measure. You're like, nah, I'm not on that measure at all. You on that measure? I think that's what you're saying. Like spectrum, is this another thing of saying like, well, somebody else might say, I don't know what y'all talking about, and I'm not on that at all, right? And maybe in another
Well, you
country,
just
like
used the
that's
right
y'all
word.
Americans, huh?
You just said you used the perfect word as an example. At one time, there was no such thing as race.
Mm-hmm.
That word did not exist.
And then
So
somebody
somebody came
made it
in
up.
and gave us race. And then
Mm-hmm.
from that point on, we've been delineating ourselves with the word race. But is it a real thing?
Yeah.
And we've take the word race, we've changed it from mental capacity to Now it's a question of resources. So it started as something that had to do with your physicality, and now it has to do with economics. But it's still affecting us in our day-to-day life. So the question is, if we were to get rid of the word race, how would we then treat each other without that term?
Right. And right, if we didn't have the word crazy, how would we treat each other? How would we be able to dismiss someone by saying, "Oh, they just crazy"? Is I forgot
Exactly.
Dave Chappelle or somebody was saying, it's just a word that is dismissive. Whenever we don't understand, we go, "That person's crazy." So I mean, I agree with you to
Mm-hmm.
that degree. Maybe some people can perceive real, but I'm gonna own up to mine. I can be a little short-sighted, and every time I realize, oh, I was wrong, I'm thankful that I've had those epiphanies. But I
Mm-hmm.
often feel a sense of a little bit of shame of like, wow, look at all the damn damage I've done. Um, it's how I talk to people or deal with people because I was wrong. My perception was off. Because like I said, maybe because I was mad, I was empty, I was dealing with some other issues in my life, and as a result, I'm sorry. I've tried to make amends most places where my perception tells me. And we going over a little bit today, but Ingrid, if you're still there, tell us, or anybody else that if you're listening, do you think it's helpful for you to be able to put a name on your, I guess, shortcomings, your misgivings, the things, is that helpful in helping you clear them up, or does that prolong or exacerbate the problem? And so for anybody that came in late, again, we are talking about the fifth agreement. Um, it's a whole book, but the first book is the Four Agreements written by Don Miguel Ruiz. And I love just doing this with you, Rich. You keep me on my toes, because you always tell me, I don't know, Nikki, I'm gonna have to go a little deeper. And I'm like, all right, I know what you're trying to do, but go for it. but but these talks that we have are definitely, they've been serving me, and this coming to this new year, I got a lot of plans. We got the Artist Way, workshop coming up. Actually got a compilation book we're working on. Big team will go on.
All
You got a
right,
joke?
DJ,
You got a
got the
joke for me
music
today?
coming.
Huh?
Well, you got the music coming on. Oh yeah, I got a joke for you.
All right. My
So
music too loud? Can you hear me? I'm listening. What's
can you hear
the
me?
joke? I hear you.
All right. So Johnny's in the car with his parents. They're going down I-95. They see an accident. Um, so they look at the accident and they pass by it, everything like that. So on the way, passing the accident, they see an ambulance coming. And then Johnny asks his mom, "What's that?" Says, "It's an ambulance." Said, "Mommy, that's not an ambulance." Said, "Why you say it's not an ambulance?" He said, "Isn't that going to go to the accident?" He said, "Yeah." "Well, what do you think he's going to do when he gets there?" He says, "Well, he's going to help the man who had a problem with his foot." Then Johnny says to Mom, "Then that can't be an ambulance." So then what do you think it is? It's a tow truck.
Where's my horn at?
It's a tow truck.
Oh
Okay.
goodness, it's a tow truck. Okay. You just put your foot in your mouth. You just did that.
Oh, it's corny and it's bad. I love it. It's corny and it's bad.
Okay, I got a whole bunch of comments in here because I was somewhere on this page and I couldn't see. So I got a whole bunch of stuff for you to address, sir. Hold on. Let me get my air horn to see how you. I'm going to ask, I'm going to say all these. I'm going to let you respond to each one. Hold on.
Okay.
I was supposed to play charades with you. So we're going to talk a little bit more next week about the fifth agreement.
Okay.
If you guys want to read it, it's free, but I can't tell y'all on what platform, but it's free audio book. If y'all want to just start doing some inner work, it's a great book to start with and really Work on yourself. Leave other people
It
alone.
really is. It really is.
Le- Yeah, leave other people alone and get into yourself. So let me tell you what they saying over here now. When I asked the question about what y'all think. So Ingrid says sanity and insanity, they are real. And like I said, maybe and they're definitely real for the people that are experiencing them. And I've been around some dangerous folks, and I know. She also
Yeah, me
said
too.
everyone is somewhere between sane and insane. So I guess she's saying that's the spectrum. And I'm sorry, Ingrid, if my perspective is off and I'm translating wrongly. And then hey Bernadine Bush is on.
Hey,
Bernadine
Bernadine.
is my partner in crime. She is also the vice governor of the Southeast District of the Negro Business and Professional Women's Clubs Incorporated. And so we will be having a conference coming up in March in Columbus, Georgia for the business and professional women. Okay. And she
Oh,
says,
y'all got that set up already?
is most of the we're in the final detail stage, but it's just a lot of
Okay,
final
okay.
details. Yes,
Columbus,
but this will be
Georgia. Okay.
our 68th. This will be our 68th annual district conference, and we the
Mm-hmm.
Southeast. We represent. We just will be inducting. I think we have 54 new members just in this
Oh,
district
great.
this year. So
Good
we are
job.
celebrating.
Mm-hmm.
We are unstoppable. That's what we say. We our national theme is moving forward with a purpose. But now we unstoppable. We all better watch out. So, but Bernadine says, some say it takes one to know one. Okay, so maybe back with the crazy, right? If you calling
Mm-hmm.
somebody
Mm-hmm.
crazy, mm, maybe stupid is and stupid does, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Ingrid came back and she says, the name is I am a human being. Oh, I like that. I'm a human
Mm-hmm.
and I'm being. And that being could
Mm-hmm.
be a whole lot of things. Could be being crazy. I could be being clear, but I be being. I be being things. I did be being things. And Ingrid, and I did not forget. I still got a Super Black Award for you. I did not forget. I'm still rich. When we did the Black to the Future, that was back in
Mm-hmm.
2015. That's when I left Florida. And I'm a Scorpio, so I gotta do what I say I'm gonna do. It's still coming. It's coming. It's in the mail. But I love you, Ingrid. Ingrid says, and that means I have emotions and moods and feelings, and sometimes they are thoughts that are because of things happening in my body and sometimes outside of it. Now that's true. Now maybe that's too, like you said, it could be from a female perspective. We be having realizations on a lot of different levels. It's levels to this thing, right? And I be having things that be happening to my body that be telling me it's hot, it's cold, people getting on my damn nerves. Okay, Ingrid said my music was too loud. I hope it's better now. Turn it down. She says that's her tick. Audio clashing irritates her soul. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm trying to DJ. Bless my soul. I'm sorry. And Bernadine said, rational for some, everyone has to be a creator for the self, including naming things and people. Okay, I like that. The need to name and categorize the people and things in order for the self to have a sense of authority. I like that too because I think this book again touches on our creator nature that we partner with the ultimate creator in what our reality is. And maybe synonymously with the story of Adam, we get to name the things in our universe, in our perception of realness, right? Like the earth that God made is real, but Adam came along and said, that's a tree, that's a woman, give me a woman. He named things according to the Bible. And maybe we have to do that in our own reality. Where is the line between good and bad? Mean don't go over there. That's bad, right? Shadow. I mean, if you want to grow these plants, they can't grow in the shadow. I got to grow them in the light, in the sunshine. And then so Bernadine said, "Hey, Rich."
Hey, Bernadine.
All right. So I'm
How
not
you
gonna play the
doing?
music again till I'm sure we going off. I'm sorry, and I keep on breaking you off. Bernadine said, "You speak your mind and your life with your words." Okay. Y'all coming for us
No.
today. They preaching in here, Rich.
Oh,
Yes. So what do you think? Let's close out. Let's close out. And we'll be back next week. Final
I
thoughts
think
for the
this
day?
is a great. Yeah, I think this is a great book for us to continue because what it does is it inspires us to go deeper into our own thought processes, and I think it's starting to, especially in the beginning of a new year, it helps put us in the right direction of what we're trying to at the end of the year manifest or create rather. So yeah, I like it. I
Yeah.
like it a lot.
I enjoy too. I've been listening to the audiobook as I do most of my books now. And those of you who haven't been with us before, we started talking about these books and we always talk about micro learning, which is just means don't go try to read the whole book and absorb it and get anything useful out of it. That's what we used to do back in the day. We like, oh, I read that book, but instead now revisiting some of those thoughts and just get a little piece. Just get a little digestible piece that's useful, apply it to your life, and we just come back and share with each other. Oh, this is what I found. This is what's working for me. Is it working for you? Hey, Amir. And Amir showed up, Rich. He says,
Hey,
great show,
Amir,
young lady. And hey, big bra, Rich.
what's going
Good.
on, Amir?
Happy New Year, y'all. So I don't know if you want to close us out, Amir. If you want to put a comment, I'm going to be making my closing. But we just got finished reading the Fifth Agreement, and we were wrapping this conversation up with sometimes in your life, do you feel by naming, let's say, especially the things that are fears in your life, is that helpful in dealing with them, or is it better to just let them be? In your mind, is it better just let them be? And we're gonna come back, and I'm gonna maybe if I finish the four agreements, I'll see what the writer said about it. Because right now I'm just going on what I think he meant. And Bernadine said, "Hey, Amir, the whole family up in here. Hey, y'all,
Hmm.
all of Buena Vista. Is that Buena Vista name? What's that neighborhood? No, Buena
That's
Vista.
us. That's Buena Vista. Yeah,
All of
stop
Buena Vista
playing.
showing up in the house. Okay, okay. I'm gonna get me some Alabama people up in here."
Yeah.
uh, Amir said, you two are needed. So that's sweet.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, we're gonna keep on, and so we will be back next week. Now I'm gonna play my music now, Ingrid. So you're gonna have to, this is how we ride out.
Get your shoulders together.
Yes, get them shoulders on. Good. So we will be back next week, God willing, 7 p.m. Eastern time for Tap In, and we want to know, can you keep it real? Can you keep it real? Keep it real with yourself, not with other people. That was
Yeah.
another misbelief. Oh, I'm just keeping it real. You a damn lie. You lying. You because if you keeping it
Keeping
real
it
with
real fake.
somebody else, right? You keeping it real.
Hmm.
You showing off. You know, showing out. This is the old people in Miami say, you ain't doing nothing but showing out. You showing out. Ingrid
Well,
said,
that's
good
what we supposed
seeing
to.
you. All right, y'all. Stop showing out, Rich. I see you. I can do that dance too. Ain't nobody scared of you. Ain't
That's that
nobody
shoulder
scared of you.
thing, girl. Stop playing.
That ain't a shoulder lean.
All right, y'all take care now. See y'all later.
All right, and y'all listen out for the artist way. The artist way again, 13 weeks. I'm scared to do it myself. It means 13 weeks of discipline. But we gonna
Yay, discipline.
discipline. Wonderful. Sounds so exciting. Kind of like fasting. Oh, 13 whole weeks of fasting. 13 whole
Okay.
journaling. How fun. I want a journal. Ooh, don't you want a journal? Ooh, good night, y'all. Good night.
Good night, y'all. Be safe. Love you.
Love you. Love you.